Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2. I'm out here in the garage. It's a beautiful day. Got the garage door open. It's like 70 degrees. Just kind of a nice breezy day, sunny skies. It's awesome out here. So if there's a little bit of more background noise than normal, you know why. I wanted to come to you today with I guess like an initial range impressions. Maybe that's what I should call it, because I was going to the range this morning and kind of shooting the footage for the two guns that I'm going to review this week. I usually do 2 or 3 a week when it comes to the guns that are in the queue. And I want to show you the 2 that I have on the table today that I'll be working on this week, but give you guys my initial impressions on. The first one you guys were kind of interested in. This is the K&M Arms M17S. Yes, the K&M Arms M17S in 5.56. It's obviously a bullpup. And I have to tell you, this thing exceeded my expectations. I normally do not like bullpups. There are a few things about this gun that are bullpup characteristics that I don't like, and I will definitely talk about that in the review. But overall, I was really impressed with this gun. Very accurate, and for a bullpup, it feels the best. Like, this gun is mainly aluminum versus having tons of polymer. The trigger in this thing is outstanding, and when I do the field strip with this gun, I'll show you the trigger bar that goes from up here, back here to the AR style trigger, and it seems to be well designed, well engineered, and as simple as you can make it. And so the trigger on this is really good. I used an ACOG with it. Right now I don't have any sights on it, but I used one of my ACOGs on it, and that was actually a great optic for this gun. And I'm trying to think of what else I could tell you. Shot great, was reliable with the exception of I think the gun needs to be broken in. I think I caught it once when my wife was shooting. We had a failure to feed, and then when I was initially sighting in the gun before filming with the ACOG, I had a failure to feed. But that just could be because the gun needs to be broken in and shot a little bit more. But for the most part, it ran great. A little bit of weak ejection. I was kind of surprised that it was not shooting the brass out further. The biggest issue with this gun is the controls, but that's the bullpup characteristic I was talking about. So I really wish that somewhere out here on the front of the gun, you had a magazine release. Okay, of course, that would be another thing that they have to figure out a way to control, to bring back here. This is kind of like an AR-15 lower receiver in a way. It has that kind of magwell look, and I think some of the parts are probably compatible. You have the button on this side, which is just like a AR-15, and you have kind of an ambi control on this side, so you can drop the magazine here, but the bolt catch is right here, and it sticks out, so you have that ping-pong style bolt catch. And so if you want to drop the magazine, you obviously have to remove one of your hands from a shooting position. So I was using my non-shooting hand, bringing it back, and I usually push the magazine button right here on this side to drop the magazine. I would not bring my hand back here. That's just not natural and would slow me down, and obviously you want to keep your hand on the grip at all times. So I would have to remove my non-shooting hand, bring it back here, and drop the magazine. But when I was trying to do the quick magazine change test and shoot this thing fast, I discovered that having the little ping pong paddle bolt release and the magazine button very, very close to each other is kind of a problem, because when you're shooting fast, you bring your hand back, you can easily activate this. The bolt closes, you're trying to reinsert a magazine, then you got to charge the gun. It's kind of a mess. In fact, I mess up one time where, you know, I'm shooting. Let's see if I can lock the bolt back. So the gun is empty, the gun's empty. So I'm shooting, come back here, and I'm trying to push the button to release the mag, and I go like this, and the bolt closes. And so now the bolt is closed. I now have to, drop the magazine, reinsert a new one, and then charge it again. And if you're trying to go for the absolute quickest time you can, that's going to slow you down. And it kind of threw me for a loop there for a moment. But I had to refilm that. But I'm going to show the initial thing that I did. But you've got to make sure you push this magazine release, not the bolt catch. But man, oh man, are they close. But overall, the gun is really nice. It recoils really well for being a bullpup. My wife thought it was gassy. I did not think it was gassy at all. This is a piston gun, so most of the gas is up here. Now, granted, this gas block is closer to your face, so maybe you will feel that a little bit more, but for me, it wasn't too bad. And it wasn't too loud. It wasn't any louder than like an AR, and sometimes these bullpups, because you have the action closer to your face, you just kind of feel that and hear that a little bit more. No, this thing was really nice. This might be my favorite bullpup I've ever shot. I'm very impressed with it, and if I was ever going to get a bullpup, this would definitely be one that I would want. This thing is well engineered, well designed, very impressed with it, very accurate, the best trigger in a bullpup I've ever shot. Probably the only thing about it that I don't like is going to be the controls for the magazine release, and I still have to take this thing apart for cleaning. Getting the bolt is easy to get out. I got to figure out how to remove the bolt from the carrier. It looks like it's a screw and not a pin. Not a fan of that. And I got to figure out how to take apart the gas system and get the piston out for cleaning. I think that's important too. And that looks like that might be a little bit complicated. Maybe not. I have to figure it out. But that might be the only two things about this gun that I don't like. But overall, really impressed. This is going to get pretty high marks on the good old range report. So now let's talk about the other gun that I reviewed today. And this is going to be I'm going to call it a range report revisit, but it really is very different from the original way that I reviewed it. Now, I have reviewed this gun. I can't remember if the video is out, but this is the B&T TPM9. But when I reviewed this originally, it was during the time when the ATF pistol brace ban was in effect. So I could only review this as a pistol without a brace and without any type of like angled foregrip like we have here now. Now, obviously, if it was an SBR, we could have a stock and a vertical foregrip, but this is an angled one, so it's allowed. And I shot it, and I remember going, well, it's okay. Not my favorite. There's a lot of polymer on this. I complained a little bit about the type of muzzle device this has, but I understand why. It's for the nature of the silencer because this action reciprocates in the gun. But I said, it works, and I reviewed it from the perspective of somebody, and I told people, I said, not everybody can own a braced pistol because of where they live. Not everybody will ever be able to because maybe this brace injunction will go away and they become illegal again. I don't know. Maybe some people can't own NFA stuff. So I reviewed it from the perspective of going, hey, if you live in a place, you can only own this as a pistol, but it's a gun you're interested in. Here are my thoughts and impressions. And some people don't like that. And of course, in the comments, they're always like, you're an idiot. That gun's designed to be shot with a stock. I know, but it was a load to the channel, so I can't get an NFA item from somebody. And the pistol brace ban was in effect. It's what I could review it as. So I talk about other things about the gun that I like or don't like. But obviously, the brace ban has an injunction right now, so I can shoot it with the brace and the not the vertical, the angled foregrip. And I have shot another one of these that was somebody else's SBR one time at the range. It wasn't part of a range report, and it was pretty cool. And it had the suppressor as well. But the way this gun is set up now with this brace, it is way better. And I did like the gun in that range report. I gave it pretty high marks. I did talk about a few things I don't like. As I said, lots of polymer. It kind of feels cheap. The trigger is, it's still a lot of polymer, and the trigger is okay. I can't shoot this gun as fast as I can other guns. With the brace, and the brace that we have here, this is a very, very, very short length of pull. And I understand this is supposed to be a PDW gun, so it's going to be a very compact weapon. It's not unusable for me. I feel like it is a little bit close to my face, and I kind of feel that. But otherwise, it was fine, but way more accurate, way more fun to shoot in this configuration, and this little angled foregrip, and I'm not sure which one it is. I'll have to ask D, who lent this to the channel. There's a logo here, but I don't recognize it. And it looks like this thing was 3D printed. I have to say this thing is really nice. I've shot the vertical foregrip, and normally I prefer verticals over angled, but this one is really, really nice. So that to me is pretty darn awesome. But yeah, it's a great gun, and it's going to get higher marks in the range report revisit, but it's not going to be like a full range report. I'm going to tell people to go back and watch the initial one where I talk about how the gun functions, how to take it apart, that kind of stuff. But I'm going to talk about the shootability of this gun as a braced pistol, where it really, really elevates this pistol to the next level. It really does. And I know it was a gun designed to have some type of stock, or in this case, a brace, but it works well. It works well, and you know, if you can own this gun with the brace, or if you can SBR it, it might be the way to go. I very, very impressed with it. Big upgrade. So those were the two guns that I shot, and I'll be doing the range report and the range report revisit on these, and I'll be doing a field strip video on this guy. So well, it was just a wonderful day at the range. Just a wonderful day at the range. So I like it when I go to the range and everything runs like it's supposed to or exceeds my expectations. And both guns were very accurate, didn't have any real function issues. It was a very pleasurable experience today. So there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. You guys know I like to talk about guns and then gun ancillary topics. And I want to talk again about voting, okay? And the reason I want to talk about voting is I've mentioned in some of the previous videos that I've made that I am not registered to vote and I'm not going to vote. And people get all upset with me, and I understand why. And I guess I should just lay out my thoughts on you voting. I think you should vote for whoever you want to vote for if you want to vote. I support that right. I don't care. You go do you, and you vote for whoever you think is the best in whatever office they're running for, okay? So I'm not telling you to do what I do. I'm not doing that. I support your right to do as you see fit and to vote for or against any person you want, okay? That is your right. That's it, okay? So you do that, you do you. But for me, I've laid out the case for why I'm no longer registered to vote. First off, I don't want to vote for anybody because when it comes to, let's just talk about the top of the ticket. When it comes to the presidency, obviously it's going to be Donald Trump and Joe Biden again, okay? We know that Joe Biden is extremely anti-gun, okay? And actually, I don't even know what he is because he's mentally insane, right? He's not there. He has dementia. It's a sad case. I kind of feel like it's elderly abuse that they make him and keep him in office because obviously he's unfit for office mentally and physically, but it is what it is. So I would definitely not want to vote for him. And then when it comes to Donald Trump, who I will tell you is probably the better option between the two. I mean, when he was president, we had a great economy. We had no new foreign wars. Yeah, it was great. It was a lot better than what we have now. But the Second Amendment is, I'm pretty much a single issue voter on the Second Amendment. And Donald Trump, and I'm going to stand by this. I'm going to stand by this one. Donald Trump was the worst president we've ever had for the Second Amendment in the past 50 years. And I know people are going to say Bill Clinton was worse because of the assault weapons ban. Okay, I mean, that is definitely a case to be made. Okay? But I think Donald Trump was the worst because he opened the door for the ATF to begin to arbitrarily begin to reclassify things, braces, triggers, bump stocks, whatever it is, 80% receivers. What is it? The things you can turn into silencers. My mind has gone blank. You guys know what I'm talking about. They're not like complete silencers. They're just like tubes. Okay. Oh man, what are those things called? Something catches. Was it oil catches or something? I forgot. You guys know the term I'm talking about. But people would buy them and then form one them and then turn them into silencers. Well, they reclassified all that stuff, okay, because of what Donald Trump did and opened the door. Before that, they couldn't do it. They said, we can't. Those things are not silencers, machine guns, whatever. They're not firearms. And then they're like, wait, we can do this and the courts will uphold it? Oh, Okay. Now, whether or not he intentionally meant that, because I honestly think that in his mind, he's pro Second Amendment. Okay. So you have to sometimes divide and separate the intentions and the results. Okay. So Joe Biden does intend, or the people around him intend to take away your Second Amendment rights, and through his actions, he's trying to take away your Second Amendment rights. Donald Trump, I don't think, is trying to take away your Second Amendment rights. So from that perspective, he's fine, right? But from his actions, and by ye fruits shall ye know them, or by their fruits shall ye know them, or whatever the quote is, he's the worst president ever on the Second Amendment. Because if these things are allowed to stand, that the ATF can just reclassify, I promise you, eventually semi-automatic firearms will be banned as machine guns, because now we're talking about not the function of the gun, not the function of the trigger like the law says. We're talking about the rate of fire. Now, a good example would be this gun right here. Now, this is a semi-automatic rifle, okay? And I'm going to say I could shoot this gun really fast. In fact, this was probably the quickest and most concise, the most, I guess, efficient mag dump I've ever done on this gun. It was very consistent. This gun shoots fast. I was very impressed with this gun. Very impressed with this. But if the ATF had their way, they're going to say, well, you can shoot that thing pretty fast according to the rate of fire. You can shoot it as fast as some slow machine guns. Okay, it's a machine gun. And who opened the door to that? Donald Trump. As I said, do I think he intended that to be the consequence? No. But people that surround him and advise him may have known that and got him to do it. So it was a backdoor way. They were able to manipulate him to do it. And the entire time he was president, he was surrounded by people that were making poor decisions, and everybody knew it. We can talk about Anthony Fauci, okay? We all knew that Anthony Fauci was literally working against him, and he didn't fire him. You had General Milley, very anti-Trump, lying to him about how many troops are stationed around the world and what they're doing. To me, that was essentially treason, but he didn't fire him. He's too nice. He trusts people, and the people he surrounds himself with, he has too much faith in. If I knew he was listening to his sons, Don Jr. and Eric on the Second Amendment, well, I might be going, okay, I'm going to put a little bit more faith in it, but he's not. He doesn't do that. I know the moment that he would be in office, if a mass casualty event happens with firearms, he will be one that would be like, I need to respect the Second Amendment, and he'll pass something that will open the door for more stuff. So people are telling me, Jason, you got to go. Oh, by the way, solvent trap. That's what those things are called with the tubes. Just remembered it. But people are telling me, Jason, Joe Biden's worse. I completely agree. Okay, I completely agree with you. Joe Biden is worse. Okay, Trump would be infinitely better on so many more things. But he screwed us gun owners. He screwed us over. And I can't forgive him for that. When I vote, I'm at the point now where I am not going to vote against somebody. I want to vote for somebody. Okay? I don't want to vote for Joe Biden. Definitely not. But I don't want to vote for Donald Trump. Okay? As I said, I like the guy. I am not a never Trumper. I like the guy. I mean, if I wake up the day after Election Day and he's, president-elect, I'm going to be pretty happy overall. Okay? So, I mean, and I would say I would support him, but I'm not enthusiastic about him. But I want to vote for somebody. He has to earn my vote, and he hasn't. Now, some people will say, well, you need to at least vote to go vote third party. Well, to me, that is a waste of time and a waste of energy. I have things to do on Election Day, okay? I have a job. I don't want to go sit around, and I also have no faith that my vote is actually counted, okay? Even here in this district in North Texas that I live in. In the last election, it was discovered that there were these people, and in fact, there was one guy, and granted, he was found and arrested. He had a bunch of filled out ballots in his car. Okay, now he said he went and collected them from places, I don't know, nursing homes or whatever. And he was going to go turn them in. Okay, now, how do we know those were honestly filled out by these other people? I don't know. But this kind of stuff goes on all the time. And we hear, and I have known people personally in my life who have gone to the polling place and wanted to vote. And the person, when they scan their ID and all that, go, you can't vote. And they said, why? They go, you've already voted. And they look, somebody had already voted for them. They were already in the system marked to vote. Now, granted, they were able to sign some type of like affidavit saying they didn't do that, and they were able to vote, but that doesn't mean the person that voted before them under their name didn't vote for somebody else and then cancel out the vote. So your vote's completely wasted. I have no faith that the people that count the votes do it correctly. Just remember what happened in 2020 when all of a sudden in the middle of the night, okay, we all went to bed. Trump was up in Georgia, he was up in Wisconsin, he was up in all these things, and you wake up the next day, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, look at this, we had all these precincts that even though there's 1,000 people that live in this precinct, 1,500 people voted, and 100% voted for Joe Biden. But you're not allowed to question it, right? You're not allowed to question it because it's our sacred democracy. And you just kind of go, but there's no recourse. There's nothing you can do. And it's going to happen again, in my opinion. I think you're going to see everyone's going to go to bed, which, by the way, isn't it really weird that even in the time of, let's say, Abraham Lincoln, the night that Abraham Lincoln was elected, we knew, or the country knew, because none of us were around then, who won the election that night. Like, it was known. It was known. Like, the votes were counted that night. But now we live in the 21st century where we have computers and electronic tabulators and hand counts and all this, and we don't find out who actually wins the election for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the longer these elections go on, the more cheating can happen. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, they're like, listen, we're going to take all these ballots and we're going to go behind closed doors and we're going to count them. And you're just going to trust the results of this election. Well, can we watch you? No, you can't watch us. Can we watch you feed these into the machines? No. We have to do it behind closed doors, and it's going to take us 2 or 3 weeks to get all the votes in. And then magically they find the votes. And then the moment they get enough votes for the candidate that they want to win, election's over, we got it, no more. I'm just tired of the games. And the Republican Party won't fight for it, okay? They don't want it bad enough. The Republicans, the people in charge, they don't want it bad enough. The Democrats will win hook or by crook. Like, they will cheat, they will lie, they will steal, they'll manipulate, they will find the votes. Will Republicans do that? No. And you're saying, Jason, you're crazy. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you ever see, when they tabulate votes on election night, okay, do you ever see them where the Democrat is winning when you go to bed, and the next morning the Republican has beat them? Do you ever see that? As the precincts come in, you ever see the Democrat way up here, Republican here, and as the precincts come in, the Republican beats them? Just one district. No, you don't. What do you always see? Trump or Republicans, and then as the night goes on, and then, okay, we're at 99% precincts reporting, okay, 100, boom, and then the Democrat wins. Every single time. As I said, I could forgive it if it was even. It's like half the time it goes one way, half the time it goes another. But it doesn't. Like, literally, there'll be 100 elections from state to local to national elections in various jurisdictions. Literally, Republican wins until 99.9% of precincts reporting he's winning. And the last one, and now we found this box of ballots and poop. Election over. Democrats win. It always works that way. Always works that way. So I have no faith in the election. So I'm not going to vote until the people that I believe feel the way that I do actually want to fight and play the game like the other side does. I'm not fighting for them. They have to show me they want to win. But then the people that I vote for are all anti-gun in the end. So I'm voting my rights away. So when I vote, I look at it as it's like someone saying, hey, there's two people that are here to murder you. One person's going to murder you with a chainsaw, and the other person's going to murder you with a knife. But you need to vote. Why? I don't want to vote because either way, I'm murdered, and I don't want to die by a chainsaw, and I don't want to die by a knife. But you have to vote, Jason. It's your civic duty. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Yeah, but do you guys see what's happening here? Like, it's two murderers. Like, one's going to kill me and the other one's going to kill me. Just one might kill me in a more gruesome way. But you need to vote. You'll discover that when it comes to my personality type, I might frustrate you. I'm sure I frustrate some of you guys. Because to some people, I'm an immovable object. When I make up my mind about something, I'm pretty damn stubborn, right? I'm not going to change because when it comes to me making a decision, trust me, it is well thought out, and I have invested a lot of time in it. Now, does that mean my opinions can't change? No, it doesn't mean that. But it just means that I am very deliberate when it comes to my thought process, when it comes to choices that I make. So I'm an immovable object. So nobody, regardless of the things that you tell me, oh, you need to go and vote for this because Biden's worse. Well, that's not a compelling argument to me. Oh, Trump will do that. It's not a compelling argument to me because I can look at Trump's record and go, he lied to us and opened the door pretty much for all gun bans, right? What do you want me to do? Chainsaw or knife? You die in the end, right? But to other people, I'm an unstoppable force. So I'm either an immovable object or an unstoppable force. When I put my mind to something, it's going to get done. It might not get done today or tomorrow, but it will get done. And I will not rest until I accomplish the goal that I am singularly focused on. And so that can frustrate people because I become almost obsessive about things and accomplishing things. So anyway, that's my thoughts on all this. I know some of you guys are frustrated with me, and that's okay. And some of you guys are going to tell me in the comment section below, you got to vote. I'm not going to. And the reason I unregistered to vote is to make sure that nobody can vote in my name. So before you tell me I can't complain, I can complain about anything I want in the United States, okay? I don't have to vote, and that doesn't negate my right to complain, number one. But I vote for people, and I don't want to vote for Joe Biden, okay? I don't want to vote for a third-party candidate because it's a waste of time. I shouldn't even be at the polling place if I'm doing that because I have to work and earn money. And then I don't want to vote for Donald Trump because he literally opened the door to all the problems we have now in the Second Amendment community and giving the ATF the power that they do. So I don't want to vote for Biden. I don't want to vote for Trump, and I don't want to vote for a third party. So there's nobody that I want to vote for. So I'm not going to vote. And by not voting, by choosing not to participate in the system, I'm voting. I am telling the system I find it illegitimate and I don't trust it. That's how I'm voting. You know, I am voting no confidence in the system, and that is a vote. Choosing not to participate is a vote. I have no faith in our election system. I have no faith in the people that count the votes. I have no belief that they are fair. Even here in North Texas and in the conservative areas, I have no faith because usually the people that work in the government, what are they? They're typically leftist liberals, right? Typically. I have no faith in any of it. No faith. You know, when we have election machines here in this area, they don't do paper ballots. It's all election machines. How do I know that I'm just going in there and it's some fake tabulation? It makes it look like you're voting. It doesn't keep, you don't get a printout of who you voted for. It just says, thank you for voting. So how do I know it's not even hooked up to anything? I have no faith in the election. I have no faith in it. I just don't believe it's real. And that's okay. You guys can completely disagree with me. And that's your right. And if you guys want to go out and vote, I want you guys to go out and vote. I want you to vote for whoever it is you want to. I'm not telling you what to do, what not to do. None of that. But this is how I personally feel. Okay? I feel dejected. I feel like our nation is not adequately representing the people and the will of the people. I believe there's so much manipulation. I don't understand how hard it is to count votes, right? You voted for this person, you voted for this person, tabulate them up. But we can't do that in this country. It's the most bizarre thing in the world to me. So I have no faith in the system. So I'll just let I already know who's going to win the election, okay? If the votes are actually tabulated in November, I have no doubt Trump would win. I have no doubt. The momentum is on his side. People are tired of Joe Biden. He's obviously incompetent. The polls show it. The youth are supporting him. It's just across the board, okay? He's winning in all of the swing states. I get it. He would win. But we all know, because of magic votes that will be found in the middle of the night, unsecured drop boxes, people not needing IDs to vote, people voting both in person, through absentee, universal mail-in voting, all this kind of stuff. We already know who's going to win. Joe Biden's going to win, right? And I will tell you, it's going to be just like last time, because they pulled it off. Nobody gets arrested. The courts won't do anything. So what is it going to be? In the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to wake up and find that there was this big ballot, all these ballots in these boxes were found, or they were delivered. Nobody knows where they came from, but because they're there, you have to count them. And then you're going to see Biden go whoop, straight up. We already know it's going to happen. So Biden will win the election, but Trump would win it if all the votes were counted. And it was counted fairly. But we know that's not going to be the case. So anyway, kind of a long election rant tonight, wasn't it? Or today. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the M17S by K&M Arms. What an amazing firearm. This thing has changed my mind on bullpups, but I don't want to shoot any other bullpup unless it's this quality. Such a great gun. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. And I'll try to get these range reports out to my Patreons in the week or so. So I'll start editing the range footage. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think about these guns? And are you mad or frustrated? Do you agree or disagree with me about voting and my thoughts on voting? I would love to know. I know this has been a long video, 32 minutes and 20 seconds. Man, that's longer than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be like 10 minutes. But anyway, let me know in the comment section below. And if you made it to the end of this extremely long video, which I doubt many of you will, the word of the day. Word of the day is going to be revisit. Revisit, because it's a range report revisit on the B&T TPM9 pistol with the brace. So revisit is the word of the day. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching. I stumbled on that one. So now, thanks for watching.